G'day collectors, my name's Greg. I'm Chief of the Boffins here at Authentic Collectibles. And today we're going to get out of the office for a little bit and go and see Gary, who's the owner of our donor car, which we used as the basis for our Landau. So here we are with Gary, who's the owner of our donor car, which is the Landau, which we're currently in. Going for a bit of a cruise. And we thought we'd ask Gary about Landaus, why they're cool, his car specifically, and then we'll kind of go through the model. So let's begin at the beginning. Gary, why Landau?
I wasn't looking for one, but I was looking for something to put an engine in, and this came up at the right time, and I didn't want to butcher it, so yeah, just back to pretty much standard, but yeah, just a nice cruiser.
Yeah, most certainly are. There's definitely a lot of real estate for this car, considering it's only two-door. How long have you had it?
Be 26 years now, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's half its life?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I just love any car from the era, really, yeah.
And so, in terms of, what the car is, it's basically a two-door Falcon body shell with LTD parts put on front and the back.
Yep.
But the guts of it is pretty much 351 FMX auto box in it, 9-inch diff.
4 discs.
Yeah. And they were standard in this, weren't they?
Yeah. First one in Australia, apparently, yeah.
Yeah. So at the time, a pretty highly technological piece of kit.
Yeah.
And very expensive for the time
not
as
your
well.
average working guy's car, no, back then.
Yeah. As I've said before, roughly, just a shade under $7,000 when you bought it new, when you could buy Falcon 500 hardtop for $3,500. So most certainly an expensive bit of gear, but
yeah, definitely, yes.
Man, what a car it is, though. It's absolutely one of a kind in terms of this kind of thing. Holden had a crack at doing the LE, which is kind of similar but not the same. Only had a 308 in it. But this car is almost a ground up build. Considering all the parts that went into it, they only made 1,400. They're actually a rare car to have these days as well. That's kind of why we like it. I can understand why you like it.
Bit of an ugly duckling back in the day, really.
Yeah. It's taken sort of 50 years for the styling to come around, I think.
Definitely.
We did go through that period in the 80s and early 90s of pretty humdrum styling, and this is like the last of the big chrome warriors.
Yep.
So yeah, I definitely think it's got a place in Australian motoring history.
I think a lot would have got chopped up for the running gear back in the day.
Oh yeah, they would have too. Yeah, if you didn't like the front of it, there's still good gear underneath it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bit of a shame. Do you know how many there are still kicking around?
That'd be a good guess, actually. Yeah. Yeah, you don't see much of them, but no.
No.
Yeah.
I think there's only a couple here in WA, and so we managed to get Gary to be our donor car.
I know of about 5 around the traps. You see different car shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, time to time. About 5 I've seen total, but there's obviously more.
Yeah, but even 5 is still, for a 50-year-old car, that's not many survivors left at the end of the day. So when we did this car, we basically brought it into our workshop, 3D scanned it, inside and out. Shout out to our 3D scanning guy, Henry from Oki Design. Basically, once we got that, we send all our data off to the factory and they start working on the model. We actually have a 3D printed hand sample here for Gary to have a look at. So once we get to a spot, we'll get Gary to have a bit of a bo peep and see what he reckons. So we're kind of at this mark now. Generally, it takes another couple of months to get a decorated sample.
Yep.
So that's basically where all the decorations are done. It's all the chromes on it, everything else. The colours are all right.
Lock a diff to it like that.
Oh, that's just from me over squeezing and getting the other side on. So we'll flip it around and we'll do the 12 slotters as well.
Yep.
Once we get to that point, that's when we actually go into production, and then it's kind of 3 months after that. So 2 months to do the production, and then months sitting in a container before it comes down. So 6 months from around about now before it'll be available in the shops, and then we'll start punching through the colours.
Nice.
It'll be going for more than a little while. The Apollo White one will have 12 slotters on it.
Yep.
On purpose.
Yeah, right, nice.
And we'll probably end up doing a few other bits and bobs as well. But yeah. So
it's good you got that convex back window too. That's
the
sometimes you see them, it's like, that doesn't look quite right, but that's
the glass is kind of the important thing on that.
That makes or breaks it.
Yeah. And here we have the model. Probably should apologise for the audio in the ride scene. We were kind of hoping that we'd get a bit of that sweet 351 engine noise in there. It ended up me just barking at the camera, so a bit of an apology for that. We're still learning how to do all this stuff. We're not really camera people, we're model people. Anyway, back to the car. This is our 3D printed sample. So the process is we go and scan the car, we get all our 3D data, we then modelize it and then start to work in 3D land until we're happy with what we've got. Then the factory send us what is actually going to be the physical model. The next process for that is have a look at it, make sure we're happy with it, make any changes that we need to do. And yes, there are some things that definitely need to be tweaked on this thing. And yes, we have been listening to you guys. Some of you mentioned that it's got a GT, GS fuel cap on it. Gary's donor car does have that, and a lot of other Landaus have it as well. It isn't standard, so we'll be modifying that so that we can actually have multiple fuel caps, so that we cover all the bases there. Gary's car also has a twin pipe GT style exhaust on it, whereas Landau's only had a single circular exhaust pipe, so that's obviously going to get a change as well. The model does actually have rocker panels on it. When somebody did the 3D render, they completely missed the fact that they should be chrome. That idiot is me. We'll show you a bit of a scene on the capabilities of the 3D render, and that's the thing. Those photos that you saw in the announcement, they're not actually a real car. It's all computer generated, and we can fiddle with it, and occasionally I make a mistake. I'm only human, but yeah, obviously once we get to actual production, everything will be sweet and we'll get it right. There's a few things that still need changing on this, and there's a few things that aren't actually on this 3D printed model because you can't 3D print stuff like that, and that's a lot of the photo etch steel stuff. So there's sill lines around the doors, sill lines around windshield and rear glass that aren't there, but they will be on the actual model. Apart from that though, the car is pretty good. In terms of its shape, I think it's pretty bang on. It's probably one of the closest barrel back XA, XB, XE shapes that I think I've seen that actually captures the car correctly. Not only that, Landau's have a padded roof instead of basically vinyl stuck straight to the metal. And the roof on this has that kind of soft look to it, so that's pretty cool. Not to mention all of the cool stuff that you get with the Landau, massive grille, hood ornaments, it's got the chrome mirrors on it, the cool boot garnish, all of that stuff's there, including the swiveling Landau badge that's also the keyhole, all of that stuff's on there. So in terms of its detail, it's pretty right. We're heading in the right direction, most certainly. And you can also see that we've got Series 1, Series 2 hubcaps on this. So when they do it, they kind of give us a bunch of options. One of the other options that we asked them to do was to do a set of 12 slotters like Gary's got on his. I think they're probably, the most quintessential rims you can put on a 70s Ford. So we kind of had to do that. At a later date, we'll probably end up doing some other wheels as well when we kind of do our custom cars. But as a first cab off the rank, I think we're pretty well heading in the right direction. Next step, obviously, is to go and do a decorated sample, which is where we get a full colour model with clear glass, everything like that. And that's where we get the last chance to do any tooling changes that we need to do before we go into production. That's still quite a ways away. And it may seem to you guys that this has been, 3 weeks between us announcing the car and suddenly we've got a physical object in front of us. There's been a lot of secret squirrel stuff going on in the background. We actually started to begin this project in about February, scan the car in March, and so it's taken from March until now, and we're just into September, to actually get a physical car. It's a long process, but this is the way it goes. We're probably still 6 months away from actually having cars in Australia, so it's going to take a little bit more time yet, but we are still moving in that direction. So yeah, as per usual, like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.